Getting started on the fuel tank assembly. They give you these seals with tape. I actually pulled my old ones off of here and just completely clean and wash this up. So I'm going to get these installed so that I can actually stick this back in. We got to get our tank ready, so it's going to get all of our bushings. We have all new seals, a filler neck, and a sending unit that we're going to be installing. To help with the alignment, I actually stuck 3 of the bolts through from the back, so we can just drop this thing over and then push it down and get it to firmly stick in place. It's installed. Like this. So I think I'm going to approach this just slightly different. All right, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to pull this front edge up. All right, what I'm going to try to do is I'm just going to pull this front edge up, and then I'm going to get it laid down where I need it to be, like this. And then we'll get it tape, we'll touch it down, and then we'll pull back on both sides and then work it down. It's on. It's actually down. Well, actually, that would be up. Well, and it's in the car. It's actually installed up a little high, but still good. First time installing one of these. Let me tell you what. At least we didn't. I would feel that if that would fold over and stick to itself, you'd be done. You'd need a whole new gasket or seal, whatever you want to call it there. But worked out really well. There's one more thing that's done in the list of getting the fuel system set up. All right, we have our new tank out of the box. It comes with new retaining clips there. So with that being said, we have the new foam stuff to install. So we can take a look at our old tank, and we can see that this one will go up here. Okay. And then we can see that this one kind of go doesn't look like it's way back. It does. It is way back. Actually, it's over top of that. So somewhere like that. I don't know. I think I'll get it closer. It looks like they probably actually moved. I don't think that one. Maybe it does go that way. So that's the high spot. Kind of tough. So this one here, you can tell, looks like it moved just a little bit, went that way. Probably should be, yeah, you can tell it moved. It should probably be more over this way, below that piece. But they got that on there, so yeah, maybe it does. We'll go up over top of that. So two-face stick and apply, and then we'll get to our fuel sending unit is going to go over here, right in this area. So I'll grab that and we'll get it installed too. All right, I just wanted to show you. These are the ones that come with the tank. They give you a seal. There's 2 of them, one for each thing. So here's the new fuel sending unit, okay? They come with a ring and a seal, all right? So what I'm going to do is I always like to put a little bit of grease on this stuff. It's going to be up in there the next time it comes out. Hopefully somebody pulls it out pretty easy. We got all of the rubber pretty close and very similar to the way that everything else was set up here. All right, what I did was I laid it on because it was kind of hard once you pulled it off, it kind of to get it back, but I like held it in place, especially this one. And then if you look right here, there's like dots. So I used a little Sharpie marker, and then I just made dots. You know what I mean? To kind of basically kind of help line this thing up. I resembled that as close as I could, but I moved it into an area where, I don't know, hopefully it doesn't cause a problem and it fits okay. I feel that that is just too far this way, because then it hangs over the back here, and I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that, because I feel that's actually probably right here underneath where this band, the band is. There's that plastic part that goes on the car there. But anyway, I'm going to open this bag, get this out, put a little bit of grease in here, put a little bit of grease on there, put the O-ring in. We'll slide this brand new sending unit down into here so that we know how much gas we have in our tank. Check it out. To show you what that looks like. Okay, now if you take a look, you can see that this has these two slots on the sides. You can see in there. So let's slide this thing down in here. Just like that. I mean, you can also verify by looking at your older one. That was actually a Ford replacement sending unit that I'd put in at one time. But this is fit down in here. This is really easy here also. It'll just go down in between, and you just give it a twist. So I'll grab a flathead screwdriver and I'll just tap. You can either tap here or on this, and then you work your way around because it kind of shifts until it hits all the way up to this locking ring, and then your sending unit is completely installed. Alright guys, more stuff on the fuel system. I just kind of got on this here last night. So I unboxed the fuel tank filler pipe. So there's the part number for that. Basically, that's your fuel filler neck, and then it'll come with this piece right here. That kind of goes to the tank. LMR sells it as a kit. The kit comes with the vent seal, the inlet filler neck seal. I don't think these come with this. These came with the tank. It also came with one bolt that goes into this bracket here, and it came with the 4 for here that are new, and then there's 3 here that are new for this. So, all right, that'll pop open nicely, and let's take a look here. Hopefully, let's see if we can see this stuff. Come on. There we go. A little dark in here, but there's our new filler neck, and it came with all new bolts there. All right, like I said, it came with these new seals. I showed that. I also got the new bolts that hold this in, and these two hold the door on. Okay, so we have everything. I got this lined up here a little bit. Actually installed these new rubbers because they come with this also. Not too bad of a fit. So we're going to need to get this seal here installed. We're going to need this nut. We're going to have to slide this up over, and this. Okay, now I'm going to grab a light and I'll show you how. Basically, this plastic piece is inside. I slid the neck down through and I bolted it into this. I got it started. And then I got these two and I got this on. These two here kind of hold it in place after these two were started. So there was a little bit of adjustment up and down here, as you can see those back bolts if you remember looking. And then I tightened these up. Okay, so that gets that in place, and then we want to put this on. And that's just a rubber seal. I'll show you what it looks like from the bottom here. Here's our new filler neck. Basically, this rubber seal will fit on here one way. You'll be able to tell it's got this formed seal that goes up into the metal. All right, I put a little bit of WD-40 on here. You can actually see a little bit right there yet. Okay, and then it just, the rubber slid right up on, and I just tightened down the nuts. So that's good to go. I got to clean this up here just a little bit more. And the plan is to install our fuel tank. I did wire brush most of this down. You can see we still have some area back here that I'm going to be more worried about getting to once we get the rear differential out. So everything that we needed right now is painted so that the gas tank can go in and not be in our way. I did get to well, I just installed our fuel pump assembly down into the tank also. I still need to tighten up the ring. That's going to be just like it was here, see? That'll be the same deal as it was with that. Now this is the aftermarket one. I did the unboxing. I can paste that link down below so you can see what that stuff looks like. But here's where our filler neck seal is going to go, and then over here's where this has to go. So I'm going to get this separated here. Maybe even put a new piece of hose on here. And then I'll get this down in with a new seal. You can see the old one's still on here. All right, well, we're at the point of finally getting the fuel system installed, and we're going to finish it up. You just seen when I installed the tank, which would have been about probably a month or two ago, maybe a little bit more. But we have our fuel tank is now set up. I replaced the vacuum line because it was old and worn. We cleaned up our original harness, and I rewrapped it with some of this newer loom. Got everything cleaned up. We have our fuel sending unit, which was installed. So we installed our ORB fittings to our 90s, and then installed our lines, which was the 36 and the 92 coming out. They say to put them toward this way because it's going to wrap down underneath, and then it'll lay in here something similar to the way the factory lines did. So I'm going to have to cut that, but we're actually ready to get everything installed. I ran the line here down by the grommet up there. You can kind of see it, hopefully. Yep, there we go. And then I actually took the plastic coating that comes with these off, and I crimped them and soldered them. So we're going to install these onto the pump. Positive is red, black is negative. I'm going to put a little bit of the dielectric grease on there and then slide these boots over top. And then we're going to lift this thing up in, which will be pretty easy because we're going to slide it over our brand new filler neck here and just get everything strapped up in. And that's going to finish up the fuel tank. Right here is where the vacuum line is going to go for the evap. And we also have the fuel filter assembly here assembled right up inside here and bolted in. I use new bolts for that. So that's the upgraded one that comes with the kit. Very easy to install. Let's get this tank lifted up. It's really nice because it's empty. All right, fuel system. We backed out our lines. We actually had them pulled through a little bit farther. With the rails, I didn't know that there was these two little tiny spacers that actually attach down in behind here. So I actually got those installed. It gives you clearance behind the distributor over here on this side. So they were already built. I didn't install the 45, which goes here, okay? That is already done. Lubricate all your O-rings. They will seat down in a whole lot better. I installed the Y, okay, with the ORB fittings. And then it's one line and one short line, and this is what feeds your rail. It comes in here on the back side. The return line will actually dump out here. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I believe I've got to get the two, because it'll return off of this side and this side back into here. And I believe that we're going to mount our gauge here. So you'll be able to see what your pressure is. It'll stick up on top. And then you can adjust the stuff here. You're going to need to run a vacuum line to that also. Man, it is coming together really nice. Like I said, all the brake lines are on this thing. So I kind of wanted to get everything together. Since I rewrapped my harness and a lot of this stuff is in and loose, and I don't have like coolant in anything, needing to loosen stuff up to the point where you can get it in and down and together. That really looks like it's tight. This is an aftermarket AC line here. I would have liked to try to tuck these down underneath here, but the way these bend, it was just a little tough for that. Yeah. So we're just gonna we'll just let it like that. I do have to get the PVC down through here and plugged in, so these will have to get pulled up right into this area here. All right, I'm going to get the return lines, which are here. There's one, here's the other one. There's our gauge. We're getting down here pretty good on stuff. We've got a couple bolts. I've got one 90-degree fitting here. And the gauge, yeah, the gauge. So I'm gonna cut these open. One's 48. Now they're both 48s. So both of your return lines are gonna be a 48. All right, so this is how I did mine. The one return runs down underneath. I'll probably put a zip tie here, try to hold them down. I kept them underneath the pinch rail here. Looks pretty good. Actually ran that other one out behind the wiring. Take a look here. All right. Everything's nice and tight up here. You've got access to everything else that you need to access in here. You can get to. There's plenty of room for everything. Everything that's supposed to be here has room. It is a little tight to get onto this one. I got to put this bolt in. When you try to put this on, it's really tight on the rubber mount that holds this cylinder here. I don't know if it's AC or something like that, but that stuff right there is a little tight. We do got to get the gauge on here yet. Seat right here. That's the last thing we got to do. And then obviously I still have to get all these lines tucked up where they need to be here. And we still need to run the wiring right here. I just set it in the back. I'm going to tie it into the relay over there on the floor. Basically just so it's powered through the inertia switch so that the fuel system shuts off when I need it to. So that is going to be really close to finishing up the fuel system, other than getting the wiring installed. I wanted to do a quick finish up of the fuel video just to kind of show you how I have everything routed. So and kind of go over everything. Just kind of start up front. The fuel rails were installed, and then the return line is really tight when it comes down around here. If you're running one of these boots, it's really tight on the fuel rail also. It did kind of get down in here now. I have them run back across. In the rear here, where the returns come out, the far side over here, I had it more up, but it ended up being in the way of some of the vacuum lines there. And I did actually have these tucked very nicely underneath the pinch rail crossed here, but we ended up just kind of having to move stuff around as we were getting everything else assembled for clearance issues. So it runs down here. I ran the return line. The one return line came out really nice down underneath. Yeah, it's under here. You can't see it, but it's under there. Comes out here and then goes into the regulator, and then the other side you can see comes down underneath the heater core hoses and runs into the other side, and then the return dips down out. Okay, then everything runs down through along inside here. All right, now we're going to go under the car. I brought them out right here. Okay, and then I put a clamp here along the outer edge. There's a zip tie. I got a couple zip ties I got to trim. I had a little bit there I had to eat up. I still have to do my evap line. So I'm going to get to that as soon as the parts come, but we can still drive the car like that. It's fine. Across underneath the seat. And then it gets really weird right through here because to me, that's really close to the exhaust. So clamped, zip ties, more clamps. Right here on my car, since it's an 89, I still have the e-brake cable rocker piece that's there for the e-brake cable. And then we went along across because I zip tied it up there because it was hanging down. Went up through. Now back in here, here's your rear. I ran it up along this outer edge because I didn't want it near where the rear came up. Like I said, I was worried about drive shaft hitting this. Went around, came up to my filter, and then down across. And I just noticed right now that these were coming across and they were nearly touching. So when I put this zip tie on, I ended up bending my filter here a little bit. I might look into buying an unstock filter and then run it from this line and that line and just delete everything in between. And then for now, I'll probably pick one of these up, but that's on my list of stuff to get. But like I said, I brought it up in. I think your factory lines actually came in and tucked here. I don't know if I brought everything up, I would have enough. Won't have room on that side. But like I said, factory usually runs behind here, I think, and then comes out and then comes up to the filter. Could get a 90 to put here and bring this down around this other line here. You would just have to bring it out around the filter and you could run it through and it would kind of dip up through, maybe put a little rubber if it's tight against this edge. But that's kind of how I ended up running mine down around my tank. So right here, sticking out a little bit. But I think this is gonna work out all right. Like I said, now that I got some miles on the car, I just did my, 50 mile once over, just double checked everything. I had to adjust some exhaust, and looking over the fuel as I made the video going over installing it and how it fit. I mean, so far everything's working good as far as the fuel is concerned. Now that we've got, I don't know, 50 miles or so on the car, I was busy going over it, just double checking everything. And like I said, I wanted to show how the fuel line was routed, so far how it is. I'm thinking I might add a couple pieces, like I said, an upgraded filter, assembly back there that's not stock so that I don't end up with that bent edge. And then maybe even changing the way some of these lines are run up in the front, just to try to clean it up a little bit better. But when you come to these custom fuel systems, this is kind of like an all-over fuel system that will work for 302, 351 Windsor. Some of this fuel system might work for different engines that are installed into these cars. So they kind of got to keep them universal. It kind of sucks, but it works and it gives you a general thing unless you want to build your own kit. And with that, hey man, it's a pretty decent setup, and well, hopefully we get more and more miles out of it.